lovely people, welcome back to my channel, and today is the day I finally get to complain. I know I'm late. I know I'm late. I know I am late. My next video is also gonna be late on the topic, but I don't care. Anyway, we're talking about that one anime that just took a dive. Second season. It had so much potential. The Promised Neverland. Now, just to state the obvious, this whole video is going to be a huge spoiler to the whole thing, so if you don't want that, leave. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching. Come back once you're done with the anime, or if you don't want to waste all your precious time, you can stay and you can hear me complain, and then, woo, we can all high-five each other. And then I will congratulate you for not wasting your time. So I'm just going to be looking at this strictly from an anime watcher's perspective and telling you why it's just not worth the experience. I'm going to try to make this video short. Especially because I only have 3 things to talk about, and those 3 things, they just really just grinded my gears so bad that in the beginning of this anime I had hope that it was going to be good because the first season, beautiful. All the different points of views, you know how they had the characters, it always seemed like someone was spying on them, and the storyline was very nicely paced. It was good. It was good to the point where I was like, oh my god, when's the second season coming out? And I need to read the manga. But now, let's talk about the 3 things that really made this just an unpleasant experience for season 2, and how they could possibly make a better experience for us viewers. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the lazy animation. So I've written down in my handy dandy planner all of the times that they use the montage to express the change in something or time passing or something of that sort. So the first time was in the 2nd episode. It was a total of 42 seconds long, and it was the whole learning from Mujika how to survive in the demon's world and what to eat, how to hunt, and everything. It was a 42-second montage. They could have made that whole episodes. It could have lasted episodes of them trying these new foods and trial and error, or getting into traps, and just not being able to fully comprehend how to get all of these foods, or just disliking a lot of the foods even, because when you try something new, you don't always like it. And they really didn't show that. We as an audience didn't have a chance to experience what the characters were experiencing. And I really feel like it turned me off, because when a character is embarrassed, I like feeling that embarrassed. When a character is in love, I like feeling that love. When they're scared, I want to be terrified. And they didn't give us a chance to feel that. And I really feel like they could have made this at least an episode long, just them learning, even though it was only like a week or 2 in the anime, if I'm not mistaken. The second time was in the 4th episode, and it was a total of 2 minutes. 2 minutes! 2 whole minutes of a montage of them spending time in the bunker. 2 minutes! There was no talking. And the montages, yes, they have movement and all, but it's just everything that they do is so short. Okay, I get it, they were just showing their routines and what was happening, but they could have expanded on the bunker way more. For example, they could have expanded on how they managed to not get seen by anyone, and how they figured out a circadian rhythm. I just felt like it went too fast. Again, we could have experienced what they were experiencing, their fear, their joy, and they could have added more of the horror element to this, especially in the bunker. Because the bunker is a place where you can't really see the outside world except for in the cameras. And they did make a point to say that the person watching the cameras, I'm sorry, I cannot remember his name, he just kept falling asleep. And that could have been a great drive of horror to the audience. Because if he keeps falling asleep, we don't know what's going on in the outside world. So all these children might be happy, but something terrifying might be coming. Now the 3rd time was in the 8th episode. It was only a total of 10 seconds, but this is also a huge problem. Do you know why? Do you know why it was a huge problem? Because they used 10 seconds to explain the whole Lambda farm. 10 seconds! They could have done a whole season on the Lambda stuff and all of the trauma that the children go through in that and all of the experiments that are done on them. They could have talked about it so much and expanded on why these experiments started, how they got away, how they made all the plans. No, it was 10 seconds. This is all you get. You get 10 seconds of us telling you, oh yes, this is horrible. Here are some kids just sitting on a chair getting these IV drips, like looking kind of dead. And then these kids on these playpen looking things. Okay, it looked bad. But it didn't look that bad. They could have made it way scarier. They could have made it horrible. They could have shown us the kids getting tortured. Not that I want to see kids getting tortured. But again, for the horror effect, if they had kept up the same horror theme from the first season, the thriller, all the, I don't know what's gonna happen next, my heart is pounding because it feels like someone's watching them, it feels like someone's following them. If they had kept that, even for the Lambda farm thingy, we would have felt the impact. But I don't feel like anyone felt the impact of the Lambda farms. We were just like, yeah, okay, they were experimented on, but then he just escaped after like a little while, so it's fine. Nothing is wrong with him. Nothing happened. They just kind of did some tiny experiments on him. Yeah, the gravity of the situation was just not present. And that's just not very good. It's not very good. And the final montage, the montage that made me the most angry, it made me furious, was 2 minutes and 41 seconds long, and it was the ending. The ending was a freaking montage. I am so disappointed because this whole revolution, this whole ending, everything happening, that could have been a whole season on its own. But no, they just kind of went like bang, 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 bang. Not even like show you what happened. Ending. That's it. Finished. Mwah, beautiful. No! So lazy, man. So lazy. Like, I get it. Maybe they had a budget that didn't allow them to make other seasons, or they had this vision that making it this way would make the audience more satisfied. But to be quite honest, I would have preferred it if they just didn't give us a season 2 instead of this. Like, I would have preferred it if they were like, by the way, we're canceling season 2. It's not happening. If you wanted to know the rest, go read the manga. It's just lazy. It was so lazy. Okay, I'm done talking about the lazy animation. Now I want to talk about the overly fast pace. I think this is the main reason why this season didn't work. So the first one is all of the characters developing far too quickly. There's a part where Norman, he's like, I must kill all demons. They must all die. I will kill all of them. And then Emma just comes up to him and she's like, Norman, we shouldn't do this. Norman, you have me. We shouldn't do this. And he's like, okay, are you kidding me? Like, he has been planning for months to kill all the demons. And now he's like, Emma told me not to kill the demons, so now I'm not gonna kill the demons? Let's be real for a second. That happened within one episode. The span of one episode. One episode. And then another thing that happened way too quickly was Mujika all of a sudden being like, okay, I'll help you. Use my blood, let's help everyone. Just all of a sudden she's like, yes, let's do this. You are telling me that a 1,000-year-old woman that has been hiding for 1,000 years, suddenly, because a 13-year-old child says that she wants to save all of the demons, you're telling me that she's going to come out of hiding, not scared of the government who has been trying to kill her for centuries, that she's just gonna be like, let's use my blood. No, just no. That would never happen. Also, another thing that happened too fast was Mama suddenly joining the kids. They had zero explanation for that, because 1 second she was with the demons trying to find the kids, and then in the last episode, all of a sudden she was like, we've turned against you people. I'm gonna kill you if you kill the kids. You are telling me that someone who has been manipulated by the system their whole lives, and this was all of the mamas, by the way. No, they would fear every single second of that. They would be terrified. This would not just happen. The other characters that developed way too fast were Norman's little posse, like with Barbara and them. They also just all of a sudden, after being tortured for years at Lambda, they were like, let's not kill the demons anymore. You're telling me that Barbara, who was eating demons because she was like, they eat us, so we should eat them. You're telling me that she would just be like, yeah, maybe they're not so bad. Maybe we shouldn't kill them. Are you for real? No, she wouldn't do that. Something that would be more realistic would be her and like the other three going behind Norman's back and being like, this, we're killing the demons like we planned to. Okay, so I'm done talking about that. Now the third thing I want to talk about was the lack of explanation. The lack of explanation is also something that really bothers me, and I have a list of, 8 things that really bothered me. I'm not a person who really pays attention to detail, but if these things were able to bother me to an extent where I was like, hello, why didn't you go back and explain this? Why did this just suddenly happen? Then it means that it's kind of bad. First thing that really bothered me was Mujika's blood. They had no explanation for that. It was just this demon lady thingy that looks really human, all of a sudden appears and her blood is magical and she can cure every demon from degeneration. Could have been a whole episode explaining what happened to her. Why is she in hiding? Why is she the only one with this type of blood? Why doesn't the government use her for her blood? Like, why didn't they keep her captive and then just like drain her blood, give a little bit to the people? What happened that she had to go into hiding in the first place? At least half an episode could have been used to explain her backstory. And I think that would have been really useful for the audience, because we would have been like, oh shit, this is why she is so important. But in the beginning I was just like, oh yeah, she's just a random demon that's just like gonna help the kids. An explanation was necessary, because then that would also explain the degeneration, why the other demons degenerate, and why eating human meat helps them not degenerate. They could have done this like in the form of flashbacks or something, like they did in the first season. The first season, the flashbacks were beautifully executed. Why didn't they use them here? Why did they only use the montages? That really bothers me, because if there wasn't the first season, there would be no comparison, but there is the comparison to be made from the first season. The second thing that really bothered me was the Lambda farm. They explained why it exists, but not in detail. They didn't explain why they were doing all these experiments on the kids. They didn't explain how they were doing the experiments. They didn't explain why the Ratchery dude, why he's so evil. They didn't fully make the audience feel the importance of that farm towards the royal family in the anime. Because essentially, if they had successfully done all the things that they wanted to do in the Lambda farm, then all the other farms would kind of like lose their purpose, because then they could just like genetically engineer kids that could be eaten straight away, right? There wasn't enough emphasis to that. The next thing I want to talk about was a time skip from the kids going from the bunker after they get attacked to the temple. How did they find the temple? What journey did they have to go through to get to that temple? How long did it take them to get there? Because a lot of the characters, I didn't even recognize them anymore. I had to go back to the previous episode and be like, okay, who is who? Because these kids look way too different now. And if your audience fails to recognize the characters straight away, I don't think that's a good thing. There are a lot of children in this episode that they focus on, and when there was this time skip, all of a sudden I was like, who is this? I've never seen this before. Because they took this montage approach, they could have done a little montage of them running away from demons and getting to this temple. And I really don't know how they figured out how they should dress, how they should mask their scent. And if they didn't figure that out, how did they even get to that temple? Because the temple is right next to a demon village. So this doesn't make sense to me. This next thing bothers me so much, because Norman mentions just like, oh, by the way, I rescued some kids from like low-grade farms, but I'm keeping them in a secure location. Which location, Norman? Where are you keeping all these kids? If they're from a low-grade farm, their brains are not as developed as yours. They're not smart like you. Where are you keeping them? How are you keeping them safe? Where's the explanation? Show us the low-grade farms. Show us the kids. Show us how he rescued them. Again, this plays into like the whole Lambda thing. After he escapes Lambda, what does he do with the children? He says that there's a secure location, but there are demons looking for kids everywhere. If he went and rescued these children from these farms, of course there would be demons looking for them, because these are the children sold to the public. So like, Norman, come on, tell me, where are the children? And also, what did you do with them after you escaped in the end, when half of the kids went to the human world? Did you just leave these children behind? Did you? Apparently you put them in the safe place, but why didn't you, in the last episode, why didn't you gather them with all the other kids you rescued and send them to the human world? Why not? Afterwards, after the ending, you know, They just overthrew the government. They overthrew an established government, a government that had been established for at least 1,000 years. Tell me that just doesn't happen. Like, I'm not delusional, right? That doesn't just happen in 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Like I said, this could have been a whole season. It could have been a whole season of them fighting with the people that are against not eating children. Like Mujika's best friend, he stated that he would eat children that were wild. Not for the sake of not degenerating. No, just because they taste good. So, people like him also needed to be convinced. And then, all of a sudden, Mujika was crowned queen in the end. That would not happen unless there was a brutal war. And this war could have been, like I said, a whole season. Because politics play into it. They need to have an army. They need to have people who have similar mindsets. They need to go around rescuing people in villages. They need to change people's mindsets. Like, no, maybe we should not eat human children. How did they convince all of these people that have been having the same mindset for thousands of years to suddenly change? It doesn't make sense. It leaves us with more questions than answers in a bad way. And then something that I remembered, I forgot his name, something Ratri, he said that, it was him or Norman, sorry, like I don't completely remember this, but him or Norman, they said, the humans won't take the kids back because it was part of the agreement. So the kids are like cattle, and even if they get to the human world, they will be sent back. So, how come the kids just like magically integrate themselves into the human society without being homeless, without struggling? They just have like pretty clothes to wear all of a sudden, and you see some of them with parents. How? How did they magically do that? Did they have a contact on the other side? Did they have allies? What was the thing there? Like, what? What was the deal? And they could have done this simultaneously to the war, because then it would show the struggle of the kids getting integrated back into society, and the struggles that Emma and Norman and all the kids that chose to stay back, the struggles that they were going through to make peace between demons and humans. So why did they make it look so easy? It wouldn't have been so easy. If people were watching this because their lives were easy, then they should have made a slice of life instead. My final complaint, the writings in the bunker walls, the bloody writing in the bunker walls. What was the deal with that? I get it, they explain it in the manga, but I'm not talking as a manga reader. What was that? So are you telling me that the child all of a sudden goes in there and is like, oh, bloody writing on the wall, terrifying, and they just stay in the bunker peacefully, and then afterwards there's that freaking, how many minute montage? 2-minute montage about how they're like happy-go-lucky in the bunker? That really left me with a lot of questions, because it's like, okay, the children that were here before do this? Did the monsters come in and do this? Did someone like that was in the bunker before kill everyone that was in it, and then people were trying to hide from them in this small tiny room? What happened? This lack of explanation, it killed the whole series for me, because I feel like if they had followed the path that they already laid out in the first season of doing nicely thought out flashbacks, if they had continued with the kind of creepy point of view where the scenery didn't really match with the children, and the feeling of constantly being watched, making everyone slightly terrified all the time, showing some of the strategies that they were building, and also giving us an element of surprise every now and then, I feel like if they had done that, if they had continued down this path, people wouldn't be complaining about this season. And I think we're all disappointed because we've seen their good execution, and we know that they could have done way better. I don't think their vision was good enough to match the standards that they set up for their audience, which I think is way more important than telling a good story. Because sometimes if you show a season 1 that is not so good, followed by a season 2 that has the same standards, most of the audience will be like, yeah, okay, this is what we expected, but like, I kind of like the characters and the story is okay, so I watched it and I don't really have any complaints, it's just not that great. But because they set such a solid foundation for season 1, season 2 ended up sucking. Just sucked. I'm going to end this here because this video is already getting too long, and that's all the complaints I have. If you like this video, leave a like, tell me if I should do more videos like this. If you don't think I should do more videos like this, when I feel like it, I'll probably make more videos like this. Also, tell me what you thought about the Promised Neverland Season 2. Subscribe if you're not. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Well, actually, I'm posting an extra video this week. Ah! Bye! I'm starting to feel some sort of way. You give me goosebumps every day.